These guys right here, man, these are something special. These are dope. One of the best releases that nobody's talking about of all of 2020. Oh, and like my hoodie? Everybody been liking this all of a sudden.
You're a hot nerd.
Hey, what's good, guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we got a detailed look at something that I think is really, really dope. These belong to somebody that's super special in the sneaker industry, and his name, you guys probably know already, Mache Customs. First off, he's got some of the best customs ever, and he's been doing it for a very long time, but finally just came out with his own shoe, man, and they made in the US. And they didn't cost like hella crazy. I mean, they were expensive, don't get me wrong, but like I had no idea that they were made in the US until just recently, and then I was like, dang, they were made in the US and they retailed for 300 even. I thought that it would have been 4 or 5 plus. Man, you could just smell when something's quality, man. Before I talk about the shoes, I did want to talk about the box real quick. I just think that the box looks really dope. It's got a lot of personal touches on there, but this is a visual representation of what the shoe actually is all about. And I really like the way that they did the size label because it's really weird. I just think it's cool. Like, yeah, that's the 9. Send it off. The shoe itself is called the Mache Run Centralia. Cool, man. Now, you know all about, she's been teaching me stuff about US history as of late. It's ever since Hamilton.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like ever since she watched Hamilton, she's been like on one for like US history. And then basically I got a history teacher next to me while we're sitting around and stuff. And she's like, did you know there's a town on fire? It's still smoking. It's called Centralia, and that's what these are all about. And they came in and she read that and she was like,
I geeked out.
Yeah, because nobody ever talks about this place. You know what I mean? And this is one of the things that was the inspiration for this shoe and this colorway in particular, is that Mache wants to talk about places in the US that other people just are like, what? And I'm one of those people. I'm like, huh? There's a town on fire still? How many years has it been on fire?
It caught on fire in 1962.
And it's still smoking?
Yes.
Today?
Yes.
2020. 62, the X-Men were created the next year. That's how long it's been on fire. It's insane. That was a really cool fun fact, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. I'm talking about the X-Men reference.
I got it.
Okay, just making sure. Now, something that I did not know, though, is that there is a highway in Centralia that is just, or at least was, covered in graffiti. And that's exactly what this box represents. That's what all the colors represent. That's what the layers upon layers upon layers represent. I think that's dope, man. What a cool way to tell a story most people don't even know about. I mean, obviously, if you're in, what is it, Pennsylvania? You'll know about it because you're local. Now, as for these guys right here, they feature nothing but premium materials, which is just fantastic. And I just hope that a lot of people don't see this and be like, oh, that looks generic, or it looks like this, or it looks like it's just, it's so off-putting today's sneaker culture that you need either a name or a big ass swoosh on something in order for it to be cool. I don't understand that. Like, I just don't. Either it's cool looking or it's not. And these happen to be cool looking. Do you agree?
Yeah, they've grown on me. They were definitely weird coming out of the box.
Oh, they're jarring for sure. It's a bubbly looking shoe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But as soon as first off, they're really light. They're way lighter than they look. Second off, they're mad comfortable. Like, I was really surprised by that. I have a lifestyle shoe coming up with We Are Underdogs. It's a really cool collection. It's part of this, what's called the Hex collection, where there's like 6 or 7 of us that are all using the same bottom. Not this bottom, but like just the same midsole and outsole. And then we all designed our own uppers, and I've seen, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I've seen most of them, and it's weird how different everything can look while using the same tooling. And it's just nice to put this on and be like, man, this is comfortable, because I hope that my shoe feels like this, because these are comfortable. This foam is fluffy as you know, and it's got some bounce to it. It's nice. Should I tell my Mache story? So, my very first media venture, I got flown to New York by Jordan Brand. The Air Jordan 28 was the shoe at the time, and the CP 3.7, and we were waiting for the open run. It was underneath this really fancy hotel. We're sitting there, I'm sitting there with a couple of other media people and stuff, and this is my first thing. So I'm just kind of like wide-eyed and, is it bushy-tailed? Is that the phrase? It was my first time meeting Mache, and I knew who he was because everybody did. You know, the dude makes customs galore for everyone and anyone. And we were talking, and he knew who I was. And that was the part where I was like, I'm not important, you know? So it's like super weird. And we've been like online homies ever since. And when he unveiled this shoe, I was like, yeah, man, let's do this. I think this is dope. Now, as for the shoe itself, the bottom is grippy. Like, look at those lugs, man. That's crazy. Just rubbing my hand across it, it feels like it's gonna rip my skin off. Like, this is gonna be some dope right here, running around the city. The midsole is part of the outsole. The sample that he showed online, actually, or on Instagram, was black. I'm really with the blue though. The blue looks cool, and I love the little pink hit on the back too. Now the upper, like I was saying earlier, is not the design itself, but all the colors and the overlays are kind of inspired by, you know, the graffiti that's on that highway in Centralia, Pennsylvania. And I just think it's a really cool way to tell stories. You got premium cuts of everything. Like there is not one piece of shitty material on here. There's not one panel on here where I'm like, actually, no. I wouldn't even do that. What's really cool though is that there's hidden 3M everywhere on the shoe. So this little back rand right here, let me pull out my phone because you're not gonna be able to see it. So first off, this little back heel tab right there, it's got all this 3M piping underneath it, which is sick, but look at all of this, man. It's just hiding underneath this big ass panel right there. Everything is reflective right here. Super dope. And yeah, I just think it's really dope, especially because the purple under here is one of my favorite pieces. And when I saw it and I was like, is that reflective? And it is. It's f***ing cool. I like all of the weird touches. The towel liner is very strange, but it's just, it works, man. It just really does. It really sets off this shoe. The only thing that I did not like when I first saw them was this toe, this rubber thing. I thought it was like very weird. It reminds me of like a gangly toenail. Yeah. Exactly. Like that's where I was like,
I'm gonna pretend it's a shark fin.
well, the more that I see it though, it just works. As I'm looking at it, I'm like, no, I can't imagine anything else being there. And so I really dig it. The insole is sick too. It's got all of the same graphics that are on the box, which I think is really dope. And his signature is on the tongue, embroidered. And I just really f with these. The only thing that can be considered a downside is that they only come in full sizes. Like on the boxes, from 5 to 14, full size only, no half sizes. That's what happens when you use open mold tooling, which is what this is. So this is like a already made like tooling thing that he was like, yeah, I'm gonna use that and then build my shoe on top of it. To me though, they fit true to size, they fit perfect. And again, they're mad comfy. Like I'm just surprised at how fluffy the midsole is. It's just dope. I really like the textures, the fuzz, the smooth, the wrinkled or textured, back to fuzz, and reflective underneath. I really like these.
And it goes with your sweater.
That's the coolest part about shoes that are all weirdly colored like this, is that they could go with anything. Like you could wear any one of these colors and be like, all right, it works. Now, did you want to give us a history lesson on Centralia? Is everybody gonna tune out?
I hope not. It's fascinating. I learned about Centralia 2 months ago. My daughter and I were doing a little road trip. We needed some podcasts. I was like, can you find me a good mystery one? We didn't really, but in the process, I learned about Centralia. And so basically it was this town, it was a coal mining town from the 1800s. So there's coal dust everywhere and there's tunnels and tunnels and tunnels underneath this town. There was like 2,000 people, I wanna say, still living there at the time. But what was happening back in the 60s and 70s, there wasn't good garbage plans. And so what they would do was they would just have big old landfills and they wanted to have a festival. I can't remember if it was for like Memorial Day or what, but they're like, we need to get this place cleaned up. And so they set the landfill on fire.
Wait, they lit their own town on fire?
Yes, what happened was to get rid of the garbage, they set it on fire and it got down into the tunnels and just spread everywhere.
Oh, so it's the coals that are still on fire?
Yes.
Damn, that's crazy. It's like a big ass campfire.
Yes. And so if you go there, you can still find pockets where it's steaming up. And in my brief searches, they are expecting it to burn for at least another 100 years. So now they don't want people living there. And so there's only 5 people now who live there.
Are they breathing in coal dust? Well, and smoke?
I don't know about that, but basically the town isn't even a real town. You cannot live there. You cannot buy land. The people who still have their homes, they cannot leave it in a will to anybody. They can't sell it. The town doesn't even have a zip code anymore. There's no mail that gets delivered there.
So there's just 5 stubborn ass motherfuckers.
Yes, they're like, nope, nah. This is my home. I'm staying here. Get off my lawn.
That's crazy. You think that they could just buy some land somewhere else and then pick their house up and move it? Because people do that all the time.
Yeah.
Especially if it's an old house like that, because they're built on the stilt.
Right.
Instead of like a foundation, you know?
I don't know.
That's wild though.
I've been nerding out about this town for like 2 months, and so
then these showed up, and she was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, I saw the cute little patch, and I was like, Centralia, and then I went and looked for the receipt, and it says Pennsylvania, and I was like, they're the same. It's not just like, hey, let's come up with a cool name.
Yeah, man, it's weird and it's cool.
Yeah.
And it's just a neat way to tell stories that you didn't even know about.
Right.
It's just weird, man. blown away by
Yeah.
US history that we don't know about.
Yes, I think there's so many cool docs out there that really teach you. And
One of them you've been watching. What was it?
The Men Who Made
Oh,
History
yeah, that's
or
right.
something. It's an old one, probably not the best one. It was definitely shown
It's slow.
when you would only get to watch one episode a week. So they have to like keep reminding you. And so when you're watching them back to back to back, you're like, you covered this 5 times. Like, get to
Maybe
the
that's
next
why.
part.
Maybe that's why it felt slow, because I was watching it with her and I kind of like doze off a little bit.
Yeah, but I learned a lot of cool things about like Henry Ford and trains. Anyways,
So
shoes.
this is the Mache. I want to say customs, but it's the Mache Run in the Centralia colorway. I don't know if there's going to be more colorways or not. I don't know if we're going to see other people on YouTube even review these. I hope so. I just don't know. I hope that this was a successful launch for him, because I think that these are dope. On top of that, as somebody that has created one shoe and, well, I've done some colorways, but created like a shoe from scratch basically, and has a second one already in the works. This is real hard, man. Like, it's not easy. The creating part is probably the easiest part out of all the hard. It's getting other people to get on board with it. That's the hard part. Even though this guy's got his fans, his supporters, I mean, he's been doing this longer than I've been doing this, and it's still hard.
Yeah.
Hats off to Mache. He's a good dude. I got nothing else to say other than I hope that you grab the pair. If not, I hope there's other colorways coming that you can grab. That way you can support what he's been doing, because I know that his customs are like unaffordable. They're like artwork pieces, like they're incredible. So this is something where I'm like, hey, this is from you. This is dope. So thank you guys once again. And until next time, guys, have a good one.